I am a consort who is not favored. One day, I suddenly acquired the ability to read minds. I could hear the thoughts of that scoundrel emperor. He helped the delicate Noble Consort Gao up with a smile on his face. But in his mind, he was cursing, "Fool." He politely offered a toast to Prime Minister Gao, saying, "Someday, we must drink until we are both drunk." But in his mind, he added sinisterly, "Before that, I'll exterminate your entire family." Ugh, so terrifying. What's even scarier is that he seems to be able to hear my thoughts too. I heard him disparage the new beauty, ugly beyond compare. I couldn't help but retort in my mind, "As if you're so handsome yourself." He shot me a sharp look. I'm doomed. Ding! Wisnovel reminds you to click the subscribe button in the bottom right corner to read the complete novel. Because of this, I haven't slept well for several nights. When I first discovered I could hear Xiaoyi Chen's thoughts, I was so excited. Turns out Xiaoyi Chen doesn't like the most favored Noble Consort Gao at all. Turns out Xiaoyi Chen not only plans to kill the Prime Minister but also plans to overthrow the Empress Dowager. Turns out Xiaoyi Chen is even more twisted than I imagined. The palace gatherings I used to hate suddenly became interesting. A grand spectacle of gossip. Listening to the twisted scoundrel emperor's live commentary on the harem is even more thrilling than watching bullet comments. Yes, I have transmigrated. I once thought mind reading was a life-saving gift from the heavens for this chosen time-traveling girl, but never expected. His Majesty has arrived. I stopped all thoughts, keeping my mind blank. Today, I decided to test it out. The first time I suspected Xiaoyi Chen could hear my thoughts was at a palace banquet. That day was Noble Consort Gao's birthday. The entire harem presented lavish gifts, even the Empress Dowager sent a pair of priceless jade. Of course, Xiaoyi Chen also came. Originally, I was eager to hear his venomous words. But the music was so loud that night, and I was far from him, I couldn't hear anything clearly. Then I got bored. When I'm bored, I like to count heads. 1 consort, 2 consorts, 3 consorts, 99 consorts. Shut up! Xiaoyi Chen suddenly shouted. The entire Lotus Palace fell silent. I was so scared my mind went blank for a moment. Xiaoyi Chen's dark eyes scanned the room, then said, "No problem, continue." I took a breath, scared to death by the dog emperor. Then I saw him staring at me intensely. As an unfavored consort, I can count on my fingers the times I see the emperor in a year. I even doubt he remembers my name. Yet, every time I comment, he catches me red-handed. Xiaoyi Chen's bright yellow dragon robe swept past my eyes. I sat upright, focused. I had already thought of a strategy. As soon as Xiaoyi Chen sat down, I started counting. 1 consort, 2 consorts, 3 consorts. Recently, neighboring countries sent another dozen beauties. And there were actually 121 consorts present. I forcibly held back the last phrase dog emperor and glanced at him sideways. No reaction. As expected. His persona is that of a tyrant who doesn't show emotions easily. I turned to rest my chin on my hand, looking at him with admiration. Wow, today His Majesty is so handsome. Face like jade, eyes like bright stars, truly the most handsome man in our dynasty. If he really can hear, the fact he didn't chop off my head the first 2 times means I was lucky. This time, I must flatter him thoroughly. He calmly drank with the Empress Dowager. I continued, "Oh dear, what's wrong with His Majesty's collar? It seems to be curling up. How are those servants attending to him? It greatly affects His Majesty's wise and heroic image." Xiaoyi Chen put down his wine cup and calmly smoothed his collar. I, shocked, immediately lowered my head. People are inherently good, nature is similar, habits differ. I had already thought it through. As a modern person with free thoughts, how could one not comment when trapped in the evil feudal palace? But commenting on a tyrant could lead to losing one's head. The only way to stop myself from commenting is to fill my mind with other things. I recited from 3-character classic to Book of Songs, from Book of Songs to Analects, not daring to look at him again. Finally, as the banquet was about to end, I emptied my mind and prepared to leave. Suddenly, I heard Xiaoyi Chen's slightly drunken voice. "Beauty Su has been in the palace for 4 years, and I don't think I've summoned her. Come here." He leaned casually on the main seat, his eyes and brows exuding charm, patting the empty spot beside him. Come to me. Sitting in the fourth row corner, dressed like a quail, I, Beauty Sue, raised my head in disbelief. What the hell? I was actually born into this world through transmigration. Among the many transmigrated women, I should belong to the group with not-so-good fortune. My mother was a discreet maid concubine, only elevated to a concubine after giving birth to me. In the household, there were 2 legitimate daughters who were as beautiful as golden flowers. During the selection year, my father arranged marriages for them early on and then turned around to throw me into the royal palace. I wasn't striking in appearance, nor was I outstanding in talent. It was only because my brother had won 2 battles outside that the emperor elevated me to the rank of beauty. These past few years in the palace, I've always sat in the middle during banquets and attended to the Empress Dowager's morning and evening rituals in the middle. Occasionally, when I see Xiaoyi Chen, it's always amidst a group of chattering ladies. Simply put, whether before entering the palace or after, I've always been a presence without much presence. Xiaoyi Chen's words just now made over 100 pairs of eyes at the banquet all look at me simultaneously. Now I don't need to restrain myself, my mind is completely blank. Beauty Sue? Xiaoyi Chen raised his eyebrows, urging. I ignored the hateful looks from the favored concubines in the front row, not forgetting to conceal my true inner thoughts. Your Majesty. Your Majesty actually wants me to sit beside him. What should I do? I'm so nervous and excited. So vulgar. Just as I sat down, I heard Xiaoyi Chen's inner voice. Forcing myself to resist the urge to retort, I put on a shy smile. Your Majesty, let me serve you some dishes. Below, pairs of eyes stared at me as if they wanted to pierce me through. At times like this, I must cling tightly to Xiaoyi Chen. In my mind, I recited the names of the dishes on the imperial table while serving Xiaoyi Chen. These 2 years of listening to the audible thoughts weren't in vain. I served only what Xiaoyi Chen liked to eat. Sure enough, Xiaoyi Chen looked quite pleased, thinking, it seems this Su family girl truly has deep feelings for me. I proudly broadcasted in my mind. Yay, yay, His Majesty is eating the dishes I served, so happy. Then I heard Xiaoyi Chen say, could it be that she's using some enchantment to win favor with me? If that's the case, he sneered, I will ensure she dies a miserable death. Snap. My hand trembled, and the chopsticks fell. After the banquet ended, I feigned illness. It was too terrifying. The dog emperor just hearing my inner voice wants to kill me. If he knew I could hear his inner voice too, wouldn't he immediately kill me as a sacrifice to heaven? Fortunately, his mind-reading ability should be like mine. He can't hear anything from a distance. So, I just need to avoid him. As long as I avoid him, I might not see him for half a year or more. Yue followed behind me, sighing. Why fall ill at this time? What a great opportunity! Do you know, my lady? Even the Noble Consort Gao hasn't sat in that position. What great favor this is! Hey, don't get up, lie down quickly and recover. I fell ill for half a month. After half a month, I figured Xiaoyi Chen should have long forgotten about me. I really couldn't lie down any longer. So, I leisurely continued my carefree days with my maid, Yue. Although heaven granted me both transmigration and mind-reading abilities, I know my limits. Having read so many palace intrigue novels in my past life, with my abilities, outlast Dog Emperor and becoming a dowager to leave the palace and pray at a temple would be the greatest victory. That day, I was pondering what excuse to use to miss the Empress Dowager's birthday next month, when Yue excitedly ran over. My lady, my lady! Just now, the eunuch by the emperor's side came to inform us. Oh. Guess what he said? He said His Majesty chose your name today. Oh. What? What did you say? Say it again? I lay on the bed in despair. Yue said, my lady, are you too excited? My lady, even if you're excited, you need to tidy yourself up first. My lady, please get up. Let me help you bathe. No. I won't go. I don't want to attend to him. Why should I attend to him? What should I do when I attend to him? Am I supposed to flatter him during the process? How would I even do that? Wow, it's so big! Oh, your majesty is so brave. Just kill me now, immediately, right now. My lady! In the end, I was dragged by Yue to bathe, and she made a big fuss about changing my clothes and putting on makeup. My lady, look at yourself, your chest, your waist, His Majesty will definitely like it. I looked at my despairing self in the mirror. No. I can't die. My mother still relies on me. Just wait, there must be a way to get through this. When Xiao Chen arrived, he didn't make a big scene, only bringing his personal attendant. As soon as he entered, he glanced at me and then thought, so vulgar. I mustn't lose my composure. According to the plan, I greeted him with a bow, while inwardly thinking, oh my gosh, His Majesty actually came. Luckily, my period hasn't been reported yet. I must turn off the lights later, no matter what, get it over with first. He knows my period has come, so he definitely won't touch me. Sure enough, Xiao Chen cast a deep glance at me. Beauty Su, rise. He casually sat down at the table. I hurried over, Your Majesty, let me serve you as you rest. No rush. He picked up the calligraphy piece on the table. Beauty Su, what kind of books do you usually read? I was about to answer when I heard him thinking, this writing looks like a dog's paw. Hold it together. Your Majesty, I haven't formally read any books. I used to listen from the corner when my brother was studying, and followed along, not knowing exactly what books they were. In this era, women are expected to be uneducated. So I can't say that what I silently recited before was learned by me. Then I heard Xiao Chen's inner voice, not very smart, but knows how to lie. Damn it! Empty your mind, clear your thoughts. Xiao Chen slowly put the calligraphy piece back. Beauty Su, have you recently come into contact with anything unusual? Or eaten anything strange? Your Majesty, I've always stayed in the Jade Palace, and the meals are all sent from the Imperial kitchen. What about strange people? I knelt down with a thud. Your Majesty. I adhere to my duties, and never step out of the Jade Palace unless necessary, nor do I encounter any idle people. Xiao Chen leaned on the table, his gaze flickering as he looked at me, but there was no sound in his mind. After a while, he said, rise. Then he added, I see you don't look well, I'll come back another day. Passed. I forced myself to suppress my excitement and said in my mind, did I say something wrong, or did I reveal some flaw just now? Why did His Majesty ask me these questions, and why did he leave after asking them? If the people in the palace find out that His Majesty flipped my card and left within minutes, where will I put my face? Oh. While saying, I pretended to be reluctant as I escorted Xiao Chen out. Just as we were about to reach the palace door, the new skirt I was wearing was too long, and I didn't step over the threshold. That's why people shouldn't get cocky. Once you do, problems arise. My problem arose at that very second. I stumbled forward because of the skirt, and Xiao Chen, for some reason, suddenly turned around. Instinctively, I tried to dodge him, but fell backward. He tried to catch me but was tripped by the threshold. Then, thud. He was on top, I was below. A perfect fit. Normally, this wouldn't be a big deal. It's just a cliché scene from a cheesy idol drama, but unfortunately, I heard his inner voice. So soft. My consciousness screamed from the depths of my mind. You damn pervert. I knelt upright in front of Xiao Chen. In a desperate struggle. Your Majesty. It's all my fault. I shouldn't have worn such a long dress. I shouldn't have walked without watching my steps. Your Majesty, did you get hurt? Should I call the imperial physician? I pitifully wiped away a tear. Xiao Chen held a cup of tea, not even glancing at me. He leisurely took a sip, seemingly without a sound in his mind. Beauty Su. After a while, he spoke slowly, what does pervert mean? It's. Before I could come up with an explanation, he glanced over, a sinister smile tugging at his lips. That dog emperor was quite unique. Oh no. I'm dead. Now you know fear? I thought Beauty Su has the audacity to insult the monarch with such words. Dead. dead, dead, dead. Xiao Chen said a few more things, but I couldn't hear them. My mind was already overwhelmed with the word dead. I saw his expression grow increasingly unpleasant, and his icy voice reached my ears again. I don't know if you'll die later. But if you keep annoying me, I'll have your head twisted off immediately. I forced to stop my mental breakdown. Your Majesty. My brain's first reaction upon rebooting was to cling to his leg. I didn't mean to. I won't dare again. Silence. Xiao Chen actually used the teacup like a judge's gavel, knocking it heavily on the table, startling me into silence. Don't want to die? I quickly shook my head. If you don't want to die, honestly answer my questions. Xiao Chen thoroughly interrogated me. So the last 2 times, I didn't mishear. You were indeed silently criticizing me? Yes. So you can hear what I'm thinking? Yes. Since when? With each yes I uttered, Xiao Chen's face darkened a bit more. By the time he asked this question, I suspected he was about to twist my neck. My tongue twisted, too, 2 years ago. Bang! He angrily slapped the table. In the next second, he calmed down, a smile curling on his lips. So it seems Beauty Sue knows quite a few of my secrets. My brain isn't very good. I forget as soon as I hear, really. Oh. Who was it that just said she memorized the book of songs? And the Analects just by listening to her brother read? Killing someone is just a matter of a nod, and I felt I couldn't hold on any longer. Xiao Chen changed his tone. But Beauty Sue managed to keep secrets for 2 years, you must be quite clever. He looked at me with those sparkling eyes, want to make up for your mistakes? I nodded repeatedly. Come here. He smiled at me. Dog. No, you heard wrong, I didn't say anything. Xiao Chen actually wants me to help him deal with Prime Minister Gao and the Empress Dowager. He might have misunderstood my cleverness. However, between dying now and dying later, I chose the latter. Then I became Xiao Chen's new favorite. I was exclusively favored for a month, promoted 8 ranks. During this month, Xiao Chen came to Jade Palace every day after court, spending time with me. Of course, that's just the appearance. The truth is, he found my mental activity too rich, meaning, too noisy. Once in Jade Palace, he went to the side hall. Don't be curious, I didn't sleep with him. Actually, I realized early on, he isn't interested in women. Among the 100 or so concubines in the entire harem, not one caught his eye. He's just a heartless work machine. This month, I wisely stayed in, not stepping out of the main gate. Whenever a concubine came to provoke me, I would cheekily reply. I was truly exhausted serving His Majesty yesterday, sis, please come another day. According to Yue, the entire harem now hates me. Especially Noble Consort Gao, who has thrown several tantrums in Lotus Palace, claiming she must skin and bone this fox spirit. I thought about the slaps she gave me when I first entered the palace, feeling deeply worried about my future. This month, my 2 elder sisters even sent messages through people, wanting to meet in the palace. Humph, meet for what? To reminisce about how they bullied me before? But this month was still the most comfortable month of my life, no, of 2 lifetimes. Luxurious clothing and extravagant living. No wonder so many people strive to climb up. Unfortunately, comfortable days always end quickly. Sure enough, Xiao Chen asked me to attend the palace banquet with him. Besides the consorts who rank high enough, many court officials would attend such events. On the night of the palace banquet, I attended in full splendor. As a qualified seductress, I certainly wouldn't sit quietly by myself at such a time. I leaned weakly against Xiao Chen, my eyes fixed on the pastries on the table. Your Majesty, ah. Out of the corner of my eye, I noticed a few old ministers already holding their foreheads, unable to watch. Yet Xiao Chen seemed completely oblivious, picking up a piece to feed me. He even wiped the corner of my mouth with a smile. Yao Yao is really mischievous. Really mischievous. Yao Yao. Ugh, goosebumps all over. Dare you? His face gentle, but his mind coldly warning me. I said, Your Majesty, must it be like this? I looked at my father, who valued face the most. His face was about to turn the color of pig liver. Do you still care what your father thinks? I don't care, I don't care. But your majesty, you promised to take care of my birth mother. An emperor never goes back on his word. I spoke softly, your majesty, let me pour you some wine. I propped myself up, poured a cup of wine for Xiao Chen, and was about to seductively feed it to him when I glanced at the gentleman in green sitting in the corner. My heart was instantly struck. Oh, my white moonlight. What is white moonlight? Xiao Chen asked me in his mind. Nothing. I sorrowfully brought the cup to his lips. Anyway, my sacrifice is too great, your majesty should promise me one more thing. Su Yao Yao, don't push your luck. All right then. I leaned against Xiao Chen with a smile, and he also embraced me with a smile. This seems like secret communication, like in a fantasy world. What is a fantasy world? Nothing. I'll settle accounts with you when we return. Xiao Chen suddenly pinched my waist. Now, go provoke Gao Sulan. Gao. Gao Sulan? Noble Consort Gao? I glanced at the mighty Prime Minister sitting at the head seat. In front of her father? Why not just kill me directly? That's not impossible. No. I'll go. I really can't blame myself for being cowardly. I've lived 2 lifetimes, the first in a family that favored sons over daughters. To speak of material loss, there wasn't much. But whether it was my dad or my mom, the most frequent thing they said to me was, "Can't you just endure a little? Can't you just give in a little? He's your little brother." Or they'd say, "You need to be good, don't cause trouble for the family, don't cause trouble for your brother." The brainwashing education from a young age made me cowardly to the core. When faced with trouble, I would hide if I could. And when I saw someone difficult to deal with, I wished I could immediately transform into a quail and pretend I didn't exist. In that lifetime, I ultimately died under the wheels of a car. That day was my brother's college entrance. I had checked the route in advance and was walking ahead with my suitcase. My mom and brother were following behind. While crossing the street, I was still thinking about where to take them for dinner later. My mom suddenly yelled at me, "Su Yao Yao. Can't you watch your brother?" I turned around, and it turned out a car had just brushed past my brother. Luckily my mom pulled him back. I was about to explain, when bang. When I fell, I saw my mom's panicked eyes, and surprisingly didn't feel pain, just wanted to say, "Hey, you finally saw me, huh? In this lifetime, it's even more so. Your status is determined from birth." I've always been told by my birth mother to endure, to yield, to please. Please the legitimate sister, please my legal mother, please my own father. If I don't please, well, I don't mind, but my birth mother suffers. This lifetime's birth mother is wholeheartedly good to me, I can't bear to see her suffer. So now, to ask me to straighten the spine bent over 2 lifetimes, to confidently cause trouble for someone, my legs are weak. Show some backbone. Xiao Chen's voice echoed in my mind, "I'll back you up." I straightened my back, holding the wine, twisting my waist, fully embodying the aura of a seductive consort. Sis, drinking alone must be quite boring, right? The banquet separated men and women, but they could still see each other. Noble Consort Gao's lips were almost bitten through, and as soon as she saw me, she spat, "Wretch! Presumptuous!" I was startled, realizing it was Xiao Chen's inner voice. "She didn't curse you, why are you angry?" Xiao Chen fell silent. I smiled sweetly at Noble Consort Gao. "Sis is so angry, you should drink this cup of wine to calm down." "A mere lady Su, how dare you offer me a toast?" Noble Consort Gao stood up abruptly and slapped my wine cup away. What to do?" Xiao Chen said, "Just hit her." I said, "Huh? Hit?" Xiao Chen said, "The way she used to hit you, you hit her back now." My hand trembled. I didn't have time to wonder how Xiao Chen knew Noble Consort Gao had hit me before. But I remembered how she slapped me, my face was swollen for days. I glanced at the men's side, and Prime Minister Gao was already looking this way. "Su Yao Yao. Hit her for me." I gritted my teeth, closed my eyes, slap. No one expected me to dare to hit Gao Sulan, the scene instantly became chaotic. Xiao Chen continued, Su Yao Yao, have I not fed you enough? I really didn't dare to use full force. Hit again. Su Yao Yao. Slap. 2 more slaps. I closed my eyes and slapped twice more, leaving Gao Sulan stunned. The women's side was in complete disarray. The palace maids around Gao Sulan and the ones around me almost started fighting. Several men hurried over from the men's side, among them Prime Minister Gao shouted, Arrogant disgrace! How dare you offend the noble body of the noble consort? He had long held a position in the imperial court. And even without speaking, he carried an official air, let alone when he shouted with full force. Frightened, I stepped back 2 steps, the hand that had just hit trembled uncontrollably. Instinctively, I wanted to play the quail. Why panic? Xiao Chen's disdainful voice. I looked up. Seeing his usual calm demeanor, walking leisurely, his eyes flowing with such beautiful brilliance. Watch how I stand up for you. Your Majesty. After all, Xiao Chen was closer. When he arrived, Gao Sulan and I spoke in unison. But clearly, Gao Sulan's call was more heartfelt. After all, her face was about to swell up. And I, the fake favored consort who usually called him the Dog Emperor, couldn't help but be pretentious. But unexpectedly. Yao Yao, why did you slap Noble Consort Gao so hard just now? Xiao Chen frowned. Your Majesty, you must. Before Gao Sulan could finish, Xiao Chen looked at my hand with concern. Did your hand hurt from slapping? Should we call the imperial physician? You're something else. Gao Sulan's expression froze, tears hanging at the corner of her mouth. Your Majesty. According to her rank, Lady Su shouldn't even be at the palace banquet. Let alone being so arrogant, defying her superior and hitting the noble consort in front of everyone. Please, Your Majesty, punish her. It's said that Prime Minister Gao loves this daughter the most. His face turned pale at this moment. Prime Minister, you can't handle matters in the court, and now you want to meddle in my harem? I didn't mean that, it's just. But Prime Minister, you reminded me. Lady Su's low status indeed makes her actions towards the noble consort inappropriate. Prime Minister Gao and Gao Sulan's expressions eased a bit. Noble Consort Gao has always been arrogant, I've heard about it for a long time. Today she disrupted the palace banquet, losing decorum. But considering her contributions to managing the harem over the years, she will be demoted to a 3rd-rank lady. As for Lady Su, I see her character as pure and kind, straightforward and innocent, virtuous at heart. She will be promoted to consort. Consort Su should be proper in disciplining a Lady Gao, right? Xiao Chen issued 2 absurd imperial decrees in such a gentle and casual tone. Everyone was stunned, speechless. Although I don't quite understand the intricacies of court politics, I can roughly tell that Xiao Chen is using Gao Sulan to pressure Prime Minister Gao. However, thinking about Noble Consort Gao's former favor and her pale face today, I couldn't help feeling sorry for her twice. You are quite kind-hearted, Xiao Chen said, becoming less guarded in front of me, sneering. Back then, when he insisted on sending his daughter to the harem, he should have foreseen today's outcome. TSK, there's really no privacy at all. Yao Yao, rest assured, my treatment of you is different. Humph, who would believe that? I was too lazy to pretend in front of Xiao Chen anymore. After all, if he wanted to kill me, he already had 800 ways to do so. While bathing, I couldn't help but look at my hands. Did I really slap Gao Sulan 4 times? That year, when I first entered the palace, I encountered her on the palace path. And the gold hairpin on her head dazzled me, causing me to be late in paying respects. I didn't know why she was in a bad mood that day, but she took it out on me. Not more, not less, exactly 4 slaps. This was the first time I returned the grievances I had suffered. I couldn't quite describe the feeling. My heart felt a bit sour, yet somewhat swollen. In 2 lifetimes, I had never been so reckless. But how did Xiao Chen know that Gao Sulan had slapped me? Actually, tonight, slapping her once or twice would have achieved the purpose. Why did he specifically want me to slap her 4 times? Could it be? I suddenly sat up in the bath. I remembered a question I had ignored for a long time. The first time I suspected he could hear my thoughts. was because the sound of the musical instruments at the palace banquet was too loud. And I couldn't hear his inner sarcasm, so I could only count the consorts out of boredom. In the same environment, how could he hear me? Xiao Yichen practiced martial arts. Martial artists have sharp ears and eyes, and their other senses are definitely more acute than ordinary people. So, Your Majesty. I'm hungry, I want to eat sweet fermented rice balls. Seeing the attendant next to Xiao Yichen bring over a bowl of sweet fermented rice balls, I collapsed onto the bed. So Xiao Yichen went to the side hall not because he found me noisy, but because he didn't want me to hear his thoughts. So for this whole month, all my complaints, whether audible or not, were heard by Xiao Yichen. Ah, grant me a cup of poison wine. Without face, what's the point of keeping my life? I'm not sure if it's an illusion, but I seem to hear Xiao Yichen laughing heartily without any regard for his image. Your Majesty, my hairpin is broken. Immediately, someone brought over a whole set of headpieces. Your Majesty, I always feel that the tea on your side smells better. Immediately, someone sent 2 cans of new tea to the Jade Palace. Your Majesty, why does it snow in winter? Why are there 4 seasons in a year, and 12 hours in a day? Why do flowers bloom in spring and bear fruit in autumn, and not bloom in summer and bear fruit in winter? You say. This time, Xiao Yichen's personal attendant came. He glanced at the inner hall strangely. My lady, His Majesty says you are too noisy. I snorted coldly in my mind. If you find it noisy, don't come, just stay in your diligent hall, I guarantee no one will disturb you. Shortly after, the attendant came again. His expression was even more peculiar. My lady, His Majesty says you are his beloved consort, and he won't go anywhere, just stay in the Jade Palace. Then come over here. Why can you hear me but I can't hear you? The attendant seemed to be on the verge of collapse. My lady, His Majesty says he won't come, lest he loses control. Knowing full well he meant losing control and killing me. Seeing the attendant's subtle expression, I still blushed. No matter how I fussed, Xiao Yichen still came to the Jade Palace every day without fail. I still stayed indoors, unaware of how far his plan against Prime Minister Gao had progressed. That day, the attendant brought over a set of clothes. My lady, His Majesty says he wants to continue stand up for you. Looking at that set of clothes, my eyes lit up. Is this taking me out of the palace? I will never call Xiao Yichen a dog emperor again. Really. He actually took me back to the Su family to show off. My father, who has always been domineering at home, stuttered throughout and couldn't say a complete sentence. Turns out my birth mother had long been promoted to a formal wife, and Xiao Yichen even gave her an official title. Since I became favored, my father's rank hasn't risen even a single level, only my birth mother received an official title. Anyone with half a brain knows what this means. No one in the house dares to bully her anymore. When meeting my birth mother alone, I couldn't help but shed a couple of tears. She asked me if life in the harem was hard. I shook my head. Even though I know it's all fake. In 2 lifetimes, I've never been so favored by anyone. Perhaps Xiao Yichen had informed them in advance, as my 2 legitimate sisters were also at home. They surrounded me with flattery and fawning, almost worshipping me. How does this feel? Xiao Yichen asked me in his mind. I silently mocked him, childish. Xiao Yichen didn't argue back, just lifted his chin with a smile. Like a proud peacock. He made me laugh to death. After showing off at my family home, Xiao Yichen took me shopping. Poor me, having been here for over 10 years. Never did any of the things other transmigrated women often do, like listening to music or visiting brothels. Xiao Yichen taking me to a brothel was impossible, but listening to music was more feasible. The first time listening, I couldn't understand the opera at all. For every line sung on stage, Xiao Yichen translated it for me in his mind. By the end, I didn't know what I had listened to, just felt my heart was like on a little boat. Swaying and rocking. As mentioned before, one shouldn't get too cocky, as it easily leads to trouble. When a large knife overturned the table, I was resting my chin, trying to steady the little boat in my heart. Xiao Yichen pulled me back forcefully, preventing me from falling directly to the ground. Assassins, someone shouted loudly. Only then did I realize this was the ancient times where swords and knives were blind. And beside me was the emperor most frequently targeted for assassination. The scene instantly turned chaotic. Xiao Yichen pushed me into a corner. Being a coward at heart, I should have curled up like a quail in such a situation. But I straightened my back, not daring to blink. Watching a large knife swing towards Xiao Yichen. "Stop!" I didn't understand why Xiao Yichen suddenly shouted. When the sharp pain hit my back, I realized that controlling consciousness was harder than controlling will. And controlling the body was even harder than controlling consciousness. I actually risked my life to block a knife for Xiao Yichen. I feel like I'm going to die. Blood is flowing out as if it costs nothing. Xiao Yichen is furious, urging the carriage to go faster. I want to tell him not to worry. It's a typical move for a time-traveling girl to take a knife for the male lead. I wonder why the author gave me such a cliché plot. Is there no new twist? My throat gurgled but made no sound. Suddenly, I remembered I have a cheat code, and I shouted in my mind to Xiao Yichen, Your Majesty, don't worry, I won't die." Xiao Yichen tightly held my hand, and when he lowered his head, his eyes were actually red. He didn't talk to me in his mind anymore, he directly scolded me. "How can you be so stupid? Those assassins were arranged by me, why did you need to take the knife for me? Hey, you should have told me earlier, you know I'm not very smart. It was my fault." He actually apologized to me. "I'm sorry, Yao Yao, I won't hide anything from you in the future." Don't say sorry, you didn't do anything wrong. My mind was light, and I just blurted out whatever came to mind. Although I always call you a dog emperor, honestly, you're a very good emperor. You work diligently, love the people, don't indulge in women, and know how to use talented people. You've mastered the art of being an emperor at such a young age. The people are lucky to have an emperor like you. Actually, I'm lucky too. Xiao Yichen. I couldn't even bother to call him Your Majesty. I've actually had a good time in your harem these 4 years. Just occasionally being troubled. No need to flatter anyone, no need to please anyone. Xiao Yichen, is it snowing outside? It's so cold. Xiao Yichen touched my face, his hand trembling a bit. Yao Yao, just wait a little longer, we'll be back at the palace soon. I can't wait, I'm so sleepy. Su Yao Yao. Stay awake! My mind couldn't function, my consciousness was in chaos. I just heard Xiao Yichen keep shouting Su Yao Yao. Su Yao Yao, didn't you want me to promise you one more thing? I forced myself to focus amidst the chaos. If you survive, I promise you. Really? An emperor never jokes. Then when all this is over, let me leave the palace, I seem to. I stopped. Xiao Yichen also fell silent. No reply for a long time. My consciousness started to blur again. All right, I promise you. Don't sleep. Of course, I didn't die. But with such a big wound on my back, I lay on the bed for half a month. It's said that during this half month, Prime Minister Gao's faction was completely cleaned up. Even Gao Sulan went out of the palace to pray. My other target, the Empress Dowager, also returned to the palace the day after Xiao Yichen was attacked. She immediately took Xiao Yichen to scold him when she returned. Xiao Yichen finally moved out of Jade Palace. But he still came over for an hour or two every day, which kept the outside's evaluation of me as a demon consort rampant. After recovering, I rested for another half month, and I couldn't help but ask Xiao Yichen, "What do you want me to do next? Aren't we supposed to deal with the Empress Dowager? You don't need to do anything." Does that mean I can leave the palace? Xiao Yichen's face suddenly darkened. I really admire him. He can spend an hour or two here without letting me hear any thoughts I shouldn't hear. Truly worthy of being an emperor. Unlike me, who has long let myself go. I know, I'll just continue being the demon consort, right? Xiao Yichen's expression finally softened a bit. So I still don't need to attend the Empress Dowager's morning and evening greetings? Don't go. I looked at him in confusion. I always felt his mood wasn't very good lately. My mood is great. He tugged at the corner of his lips. All right then. I lowered my head to embroider a sachet. My embroidery skills were forced to practice by my mother, better than my calligraphy. When I looked up again, Xiao Chen was still there. I saw him wanting to speak but hesitating. Just as I was about to ask what was wrong, he flicked his sleeve and left. Such a stubborn man. I really only need to be my own demon consort. Half a month later, news came that the Emperor and the Empress Dowager were not getting along. Because Xiao Chen needed to choose an empress. The Empress Dowager wanted to choose a girl from her own family, the Shui family, while the Emperor insisted on making me, the demon consort, the Empress. Given my background and reputation, it naturally caused quite a stir in the court. Another month passed, and everything suddenly calmed down. No one mentioned the matter of choosing an empress anymore. Nor did anyone openly criticize me for seducing the emperor. I wasn't too clear about what happened in the court. But Xiao Chen probably wouldn't need me much longer. He hadn't visited the Jade Palace for a long, long time. Although gifts would come every now and then, I actually hadn't seen him in a long time. So when I woke up in the middle of the night and saw him sitting on the low couch by my window, I thought I was dreaming. He wore a moon-white long robe. The lamps weren't lit. He was just drinking tea by the moonlight. Xiao Chen? I forgot to call him Your Majesty, and only when I sat up did I realize it wasn't a dream. Is everything resolved with the Empress Dowager? Before I could finish my sentence, he immediately said, no. Oh. We fell into silence for a while. Aren't you going to sleep? Xiao Chen paused with the teacup in his hand. He put down the teacup and walked to my bedside. The bed in the side chamber is dusty. He lay down directly. I had to move inward. He had no other intentions because he lay down with his back to me. I blinked and turned my back to him too. Forcing myself to clear my mind and sleep quickly, he suddenly asked me, Su Yao, why do you want to leave the palace? My inner voice answered for me, freedom. I could also. He stopped halfway and then asked, what do you want to do after leaving the palace? I haven't decided yet. But I heard from my mother that some girls can support themselves by becoming embroiderers. Rarely hearing Xiao Chen's inner voice, he said, no wonder you always bury your head in embroidery. I didn't say anything. He suddenly turned his body. Su Yao, what kind of man do you like? My back stiffened. I didn't dare to turn around. And you, Your Majesty? What kind of woman do you like? He was stumped by my question. Definitely not someone like me. Who said that? You did. I mimicked his tone, so vulgar. At that time. Was I such a shallow person who judged by appearances? You also said I wasn't smart and loved to lie. Xiao Chen propped himself up and turned my shoulder. But I also said you were pure, straightforward, and innocent. I turned my head to meet his gaze. It doesn't matter, because I wouldn't like someone like you anyway. Xiao Chen's words came to an abrupt stop. In those eyes that sparkled when he smiled, the stars fell. He sat up. Silent. There was wind outside the window, and the leaves rustled. After a while, the air cooled down. His voice also cooled down. In 3 days, I will send you out of the palace. It was only after Xiao Chen left for a quarter of an hour that my shoulders relaxed. Oh. I really am a girl who loves to lie. I clearly like Xiao Chen. Like him so much. Like him so much that my first reaction upon realizing it was to leave. He wasn't just mine. He belonged to the entire harem, to the entire world. But this once-in-a-lifetime favor. I want to preserve it. As long as I leave. As long as I don't see it with my own eyes. He will forever be the Xiao Chen who favors me, who exclusively loves me, who stands up for me alone. How wonderful. The next day, Xiao Chen sent over many gifts again. Jewelry, ornaments, paintings, all sorts of things imaginable and unimaginable. I think he's deliberately trying to annoy me. Knowing full well I can't take these things away, and even if I could, I wouldn't be able to sell them. And they come in batches. Every time a whole room is filled, the palace servants tidy up, and then another room is filled. I wanted to go out and pick some osmanthus flowers. But seeing how busy it was, I decided not to call anyone to accompany me and left the Jade Palace on my own. After all, The whole palace knows I'm the demon consort, and no one would dare to provoke me. It was golden autumn, and I hadn't walked far from the Jade Palace when I found 2 osmanthus trees in full bloom. Yesterday, Xiao Chen said he thought I was preparing to leave the palace because I was always embroidering. But that's not the case. I wanted to embroider a sachet for him. But I was never satisfied. After embroidering many times, only one was barely acceptable. Today, I plan to pick some osmanthus flowers and dry them. It should be enough time to finish the sachet before leaving the palace. I only need a few osmanthus flowers for the sachet. But in such a short time, I suddenly felt someone cover my mouth and nose. A strange fragrance entered my nose, and I lost consciousness. When I regained consciousness, I heard a loud shout, "How dare you! You dare openly abduct someone right under my nose, what wouldn't I dare to do? Xiao Chen? I said this demon consort has brought disaster to the court. Even heaven couldn't bear it and took her away. What does it have to do with me? The Empress Dowager? Utterly absurd. If the emperor cared about the mother-son relationship and let me live comfortably, she would naturally return. Gu Fei. Surround the Peace Palace. Gu Fei, the commander of the Imperial Guards? I tried hard to clear my mind, but everything was pitch black. My hands and feet were bound, and I had no strength. My throat felt like it had been smoked, unable to make a sound. But it doesn't matter, we have a golden finger. Xiao Chen. Don't bother, I'm right here. I shouted in my mind. There was no response from Xiao Chen, but I heard the Empress Dowager sobbing. Though I am not your birth mother, I personally raised you. Have I ever let you suffer the slightest grievance? The Shui family has supported you to secure the throne over the years. Even if there's no merit, there's hard work. Why not accept a girl from the Shui family into the palace? Xiao Chen's voice was colder than I had ever heard. I have not taken a single life from the Shui family, only exiled the entire clan, already considering the Empress Dowager's face. But you want a criminal's daughter in the palace, you know your own intentions. Then I cannot return the demon consort to you in one piece. I'm right here, aren't I? Xiao Chen, can't you hear me? The Empress Dowager chuckled softly and continued. I heard the emperor smashed the diligent hall for her last night. And this morning nearly emptied your private treasury, sending all sorts of treasures over. Such unusual behavior, let me examine carefully what kind of sorcery she used on you. Mad talk. I heard Xiao Chen's inner voice. Then there were footsteps approaching, make a sound, Su Yao Yao. Here, here. I shouted in my mind. When Xiao Chen carried me out, I saw the Empress Dowager's face turn pale. As if she had truly seen a monster, her finger pointing at me trembled. I glanced back. She had hidden me under her bed. The Empress Dowager has been frightened by the demon, her spirit unsettled. From today, she shall go to the royal temple for quiet cultivation. Xiao Chen carried me all the way back to the Jade Palace. The Jade Palace looked like it had been ransacked, everything was in chaos. The gifts that had been bestowed earlier were still scattered around. And the palace servants were all kneeling on the ground. Xiao Chen fed me medicine, and I started to regain my strength, my throat could breathe again. He remained silent the whole time. He didn't speak, and his mind was quiet as well. He just applied medicine to me with a stern face. My hands and feet had been bound for a while, and they were bruised. I didn't know what to say, so I just silently apologized in my mind. Sorry for causing you trouble. Xiao Chen suddenly tossed aside the medicine box and got up to leave. He stopped at the door, his back to me. Are you leaving? Then he said, go ahead, the sooner you leave, the sooner you'll find peace. He left with a flick of his sleeve. I blinked and picked up the medicine box. Such a bad-tempered tyrant. Everything went according to plan. The next day, I made a sachet and placed it on the desk he liked to sit at. I embroidered the character Chen on it. If he occasionally thinks of me, he might see it. In the afternoon, the inner attendants from the diligent hall brought things over again. It was actually a stack of silver notes. Yue was tidying up my belongings while wiping her tears. But she actually knew my favor was just an illusion. On the third day, it rained. The north wind howled. Xiao Chen wore a dark-colored casual outfit, and he didn't bring anyone with him. I refused the suggestion to take you away with me, so I was alone as well. On the long palace path, there was only the sound of the wind. Once you close your heart, even if you have an extraordinary ability to read minds, you can't perceive the other's thoughts at all. Xiao Chen took me to the west gate. He probably arranged it in advance, as there were no guards. Outside, a carriage was waiting, and my belongings were already packed inside. At the very end, I had to say something. Thank you, Xiao Chen. At the very end, I didn't call him Your Majesty insincerely. I smiled at him, but he turned his eyes away. I said in my mind, then I'll go first, and turned to get on the carriage. The weather changed so suddenly, my hands were trembling with cold as I got on the carriage. The carriage window was wide open. I looked up. Xiao Chen stood at the majestic palace gate, looking over at me. In the drizzle, his features were still clear. There was a time when I flattered him with a phrase that was actually true. He is extremely handsome. At this moment, in the misty rain, he looked even more like someone who stepped out of a painting. His dark eyes looked at me deeply, paused for a moment, and then he turned away. I withdrew my gaze and closed the carriage window. With the window closed, the light dimmed. Everything around was silent. I strained my ears to try to hear some sound. I wanted to hear his footsteps. Once I heard him leave, I would go. But after waiting for a long time, there were no footsteps. Instead, a clear, solitary voice echoed in the depths of my mind. Su Yao Yao, I can't walk anymore. I always remember this day. It is the most important day of my life. I sat alone in the dimly lit carriage, listening to the voice of the proud emperor opening his heart to me. I know you come from another strange and colorful world. I know what you seek is a lifelong companionship. I know I am in a lonely position, should not indulge in personal feelings, but care for the world. My harem should only be a tool to balance the court and extend the lineage. But I am also flesh and blood. I can have feelings, and I can have love. Su Yao Yao, my heart is fond of you. My tears fell instantly. I want to make you my empress, not as a show, but from the bottom of my heart. Su Yao Yao, can you stay? The rain outside grew heavier, like silver needles tapping on the window. I will respect you, love you, protect you, I will stand up for you for a lifetime. An emperor never goes back on his word. I didn't know what was going through my mind. Probably like my eyes, constantly raining. Miss, can we go? Asked the coachman in front. I reopened the window. Xiao Chen was still in the same posture, back facing me, looking like he was about to walk away. But in reality, he hadn't moved at all. His straight back almost blurred in the increasingly heavy rain. Miss, the rain is getting heavier. I closed the window, opened the door, got off the carriage. Almost the moment I landed, Xiao Chen turned around. His dark eyes shone with a strange light. He walked through the rain, striding towards me, held me in his arms. I hugged his neck, unable to tell if my face was wet from rain or tears. He soothingly stroked my hair, whispering in my ear, "Don't worry, Yao Yao. I am willing to be a foolish emperor for you." Extra story. Let's talk about the first intimacy between Xiao Chen and me. Our first intimacy, unsurprisingly, took several tries to reach the destination. Really, it's hard to explain. I wished I could find a band-aid to patch up my brain. At first, I couldn't even think about it, kicked him out several times. But he really meant what he said, those concubines in the harem were sent away, dispersed. So I couldn't let him live like widows, right? Later, I hardened my heart. Let it be! The first night almost ended in disaster. First, my consciousness once again preceded my will, my brain immediately complained, "So ugly." Xiao Chen's expression instantly turned unpleasant. "You've seen prettier ones?" I was about to say no, but my consciousness again took the lead, of course. I'm doomed. As for Xiao Chen dispersing the harem, of course, it met with heavy resistance. And every now and then, people would bring it up to criticize. This day, I brought soup to the diligence hall and heard arguing inside. "Your Majesty is 21, with no children, this is a matter concerning the stability of the kingdom. Do you think I'm old? I dare not. If you dare not, then step back." But, it's not that I don't want to. Xiao Chen sighed. Me, huh? Unfortunately, I have a hidden ailment, can only stand up to the Empress. Why don't you give me some advice? Or just replace me with another emperor? I ran off with the soup bowl. Forgive me for underestimating Xiao Chen's bottom line. He really dares to say anything. The following spring, I finally became pregnant. The court and the whole country were filled with joy. Xiao Chen took me to a temple to pray. It is said that the high monk who had been traveling for a long time showed a surprised expression upon seeing Xiao Chen and me for the first time. When leaving, he gifted us a pair of dragon and phoenix hairpins. Magically, after wearing them, we couldn't hear each other's thoughts anymore. Xiao Chen and I tried many times, as long as I wore the hairpin, he couldn't hear my thoughts. Similarly, when he wore the hairpin, I couldn't hear his thoughts. So I ordered that we must wear them, for fairness, both must wear them. Especially during certain times. Our life finally returned to normal. At least we could choose whether to be normal or not. This day, I woke up in Xiao Chen's arms, saw his long hair draped over his shoulders. The hairpin had fallen to the ground. I reached out to pick it up. He pulled me back. I heard his long-lost inner voice, "Yao Yao, my heart is fond of you." Then a kiss followed.